G'day, how's it going? I'm doing pretty good and I hope you are too. So I've been watching some games from this incredibly strong tournament, the Gashimov Memorial. Carlsen, Anand, Giri, Mamedyarov, Karjakin and a few other top grandmasters are taking part. Now, I'm perfectly aware that these guys are probably, and I like to emphasize that word, probably incredibly strong players. However, sometimes you bump into a game and you begin to wonder, are they really that good? Case in point, this is the round 2 game between Giri and Karjakin. Let's see what happened. All right, we've got d3. And this is pretty normal. And here, apparently, this is a new move. No one had tried this logical move before. Knight bd2 is the move that most people had played. There's a top grandmaster called Mamedyarov, and he's an expert on this variation, and he's been using knight d2 here for like, I don't know, a decade, and he's really good at it. Okay, so d4, new move. So bishop here, and now maybe white's a little bit worried about black putting his rook on e8 and attacking the pawn on e4. Now we cannot defend that pawn by means of bishop d3 because then our pawn on d4 would fall. So white actually played bishop to b3, and when black puts his rook on e8, then the bishop goes to c2 and everything is nicely protected. I mean, it's not that this bishop is particularly useful on this diagonal. It does look much better on this other diagonal. But for the time being, white's maneuvering his pieces around and he's got a little bit more space. And black's got like too many pieces on the board, and he should probably try to exchange one pair of pieces, but it's not easy. So bishop d7, knight here, maybe we can gain a tempo by playing knight here. Although black's not going to let white take that bishop, he's going to go bishop here. But it is a move, it is a developing move. Queen to c8, knight b5, and now the bishop returns to b6. And now white makes another waiting move, bishop here. Maybe one of the ideas is to activate rook from a1 by playing b3, and then rook to a2, and then the rook will come to e2. Will that make such a huge difference in the game? Well, it's hard to tell. There's a lot of maneuvering going on, and this is the type of game that you get when you play this variation. Now, black's next move strikes me as incredibly dangerous. He decides to take here. Karjakin takes on d4. I don't fully understand this move because white now gets a mobile center, and now e5 is going to be pretty hard to stop. But not only that, watch what happens next move, because by taking on d4, there's no longer a pawn on c3, and that means the white rook can come to a3, and then we can swing it over to the king side by means of rook to g3. In some variations, it's a small rook lift, and it's a very dangerous attacking move, because let's not forget, we've got these two bishops here, which could become incredibly powerful at some point in the game, particularly when we play e5. Combined with these rooks swinging over to the king side, we could be talking about a very serious attack against the black king. So black now went knight to b4. It is true that the b4 square is a weak square, but other than that, well, this knight isn't really doing all that much on b4 anyway. So rook to a3, and now black plays rook to e7, and then white goes for e5. Pawn takes, and now knight to d5. And now white's got just about everything that he needs. I mean, he's got those two bishops with clear-cut, clean diagonals. Maybe it's time to do something in the position. And white went knight to h4. I mean, sure, he wants to bring the rook over here, maybe he wants to put his queen on h5, but black's not going to keep still. Instead of this, white could have sacrificed his bishop on h6, like this. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and now knight to h4. And now we've got a really powerful attack. I'm not sure if black can defend against this attack. For example, let's try a few moves. Queen here, check in here, we bring the queen here, that pawn is on. If he plays this, then we bring the queen over here, we're threatening that. What does he do? If he plays queen to f8, we bring the queen over here, and this is a winning attack for white, no question about it. Look at that. Bishop hiding there. Well, it's not hiding anymore, it's killing black. So yeah, after queen to g4, maybe black can go queen here, but then we've got queen to e4 instead. And again, we've got a very powerful attack. I mean, this looks completely winning. So bishop takes h6, pawn takes, knight h4, and what else can black do? Maybe king here, and then I'm not sure if we can play queen h5 immediately or rook to g3. Both moves look very interesting. Okay, after rook to g3, the idea is pretty much the same, to bring our queen over here. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen here. At least he's protecting this square now, but we've got knight to f5, and the attack remains very powerful. What can white do now? What can black do, I mean? If he moves his rook, like if he moves his rook over here, then we bring our queen over here, he attacks our queen, and then we go... Okay, so knight f4, then we bring our queen to f3. We don't really want to come to h4, because if we do, maybe he's got this annoying move, and he's attacking our knight, and also he's got threats against f2, so that gets complicated. So instead, we're going to bring our queen to f3 instead. And now, what does black do? Like if he brings this other knight here, then we've got knight here, queen to d7, and then queen to e4 with really powerful attack, really difficult to defend against. For example, if he goes knight g6, then e6 is incredibly strong because we're undermining the defense to this knight. And if he plays f5 instead, I think we can just take it, and the attack looks incredibly strong and really difficult to defend against. We've got all kinds of threats, rook to g7, everything is a threat. I can't even think of a move which isn't a threat. So what does black do? I don't know. After rook g3, maybe he can go rook to e6, but then we're going to bring our queen to h5. He's going to defend that, and then possibly queen to f5, threatening checkmate. He's going to have to go knight f6, only move. It is true that our pawn on e5 is pinned, but then we're going to go rook f1, threatening to take on f6, and he can't really stop it, because now we just bring our queen over here, and now if he moves his knight again, then we bring our queen to e4. So the attack looks really, really strong, really difficult to stop. I can't believe that white didn't sacrifice his bishop on h6. I mean, this is the kind of move that you want to play when you have your rook on a3 and you've got those bishops like that. I mean, knight h4 in that position here, knight h4, I can't believe that he played that move. Queen to e8, now the pawn on e5 is hanging, and we need to protect it, and that's a problem. We can't move this pawn because there's a bishop here. So we bring our queen there, and now he attacks that pawn again, and suddenly our pieces need to retreat. And where's the attack? The attack is going nowhere now. It's black who grabs the initiative with rook to d8, king h2, and maybe, I don't know what he should have done. Maybe he should have brought this other knight here instead. He played f5, which is a little bit risky, and now maybe white should have gone rook here, and then he can put his rook here, and at least these pieces are well centralized. I mean, there's nothing wrong with white's position. He's missed a chance to attack on the king side, but other than that, his position is pretty good. Instead, he goes g4, which, in my opinion, is a little bit too optimistic. Way too optimistic. I mean, come on. This is risky now. Black's got several pieces, and his position is pretty solid. This king could get into trouble now. So black takes, and now this diagonal looks incredibly dangerous, but obviously we can't take on f3, because if we do, then check in here, and then rook takes is just about winning. If king here, I think we're doing checkmate in a couple of moves, and then maybe we just stake here, and we're winning everything. So instead of that, he's going to go knight to f6, but here we've got rook takes, pawn takes, check, and now if the king comes here, we take on h6, and he's getting checkmated. Or if he comes over here, I mean, how long can a king survive in the middle of the board? Not even one move. Checkmate. There you go. So let's go back. And after queen to d3, black went g6. I think he might have tried g5 instead, because now h7 is protected, so is the g6 square. I think that would have been a better move. g6, maybe not the best, because now, yeah, true, white can take on d5 anyway, but after queen to e4, which is the move that he played, and then he takes here, suddenly white's queen can swing over to h4, which wouldn't have been the case if that pawn had been on g5. So now rook to g1, white still has some attacking chances, but I think black's doing all right. Bishop f7, and here maybe queen to h4 again, creating complications. Instead, white went bishop to a2, which threatens queen takes g6, of course, but black can simply trade those bishops. And now after rook to g6, black doesn't even need to go rook to g7, which perhaps was possible. He can actually sacrifice his queen, which is a really cool defense. Queen takes, rook to g7, and suddenly we've got this threat, check, and then the rook comes down to d1 and leaves checkmate. In this position, if white went here to cover this square, then black's got knight here, and there's nothing white can do to prevent rook check and then rook down checkmate. So instead of that, he took here, king takes, but now the position is completely desperate. Now we just need to prevent this little trick with the discover attack on the rook. Just move our king over here, and at this point white resigned because his position is falling apart. For example, b3 to get his bishop out. Black can go rook to f1, attack this guy. If you go bishop here, we can take this with check and pick up the bishop. So king g3, knight takes, protecting this pawn. And if you go bishop here now, then we can take this one with check. King here, we trade rooks. And now we don't need to worry about this knight. We can just move our bishop, because this pawn on f3 is a speed runner. It's a pretty fast pawn. So if we try to stop it, then black can just go knight to f3 here, threatening things like knight here. Well, what does he do about this? Even knight h2, and then the pawn promotes. It's all over. So yeah, a game full of mistakes, but okay, I can understand mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I make more mistakes than these strong grandmasters, no question about it. However, if I were given an opportunity like bishop takes h6, wow, I think I would have grabbed it, for sure. And then that move, e takes d4, that Karjakin played, e takes d4, c takes d4, and then the rook's going to come to a3 and then to g3. Even if there's no sacrifice on h6, come on. I don't know. Doesn't strike me like a world-class move, to be honest. So yeah, what do you think? See you next time.
See the subscribe button, hug it, show it some love. But above all, click it. And don't forget to visit our website, chess.clinic.